エジプトとサウジは仲いいんですか？
エジプトってすごく複雑でね、サウジは、エジプトにね、はい、シナイ半島にこう、何か作るっていう、契約したりしてるんだけど、そんなに仲いいわけじゃないんだけど、敵対はしてないのね。エジプト、サウジ。エジプトってすごく複雑で、今、ブラザーフードを追い出したでしょ、はい、モルシを。今、シシがやってるよね。シシってね、天皇陛下にも会ってんの。日本に来て。だから、で、彼は、だから、エジプトは、イスラエルとも付き合ってんのね。で、イランとはね、付き合ってないの。だから、サウジもそれなりにだからお付き合いしてるっていうのは、エジプトはスンニとかシーアとかって、もともとブラザーフードは、あれは、どっちかな。ブラザーフード、スンニかな。で、まあ、どっかの宗教に偏ってるわけじゃなくて、なんか、半々ぐらいあったり、キリスト教もあったりしてんだけど、そんなに親しい関係ではないけども、サウジの投資受けたりしてるよね。で、これがあれで、これだけどさ、ミドルメとモンテリオだ、これだから単語引いてないね、全然。これ見たことない。俺見た初めてのような気がするね。カタールクラシシンプリファイド。これ Everything You Need to Know About カタール。あれこれ今やったやつだよね。はい。そうだよね。こっちの前のやつはこれ見てないんじゃない？ What media won't tell you? あれこれはなんだよ。こっちじゃない？こっちやった？これがそうか。
Hey Internet friends, with all the events taking place
あ、これ違うよ。これやってないんじゃない？やってない。
Sometimes it can be really difficult to keep up. All of the details get really confusing, especially when we only get bits and pieces and one side of the story from our media. Since the deadline for Qatar to comply with the Saudis' list of demands ends tomorrow, I figured it was time to make a video on what the media won't tell you about Qatar. Since 1971, Qatar has been an independent state, and oh boy, is it rich. Really rich. According to this recent article by Bloomberg, Qatar has been the world's richest nation based on a per capita purchasing power parity since 1998. And unlike many one-trick pony states who rely solely on oil to support their economy, Qatar has attempted to diversify its economy, recycling some of that income from the oil and gas industries to invest in other markets, even becoming one of the largest shareholders of real estate in London. Interesting, right? Qatar is also home to American command posts, from which the United States and its allies basically orchestrate their war on the Islamic State operatives. But let's get back to the real moneymaker. Qatar shares its major gas reserves with Iran. This is a key point because Iran deals in yuan, or China's dollar, rather than the US petrodollar for oil-related business. Imagine if other countries followed suit. There would be quite a threat to the petrodollar, meaning the monopoly the US has asserted over global financial markets would be compromised. And if the United States is economically compromised, that means the rising global powers, like Russia and China, could benefit. We've witnessed these events play out before. For example, let's take Saddam Hussein back in 2000, when he proposed selling Iraqi oil in euros instead of the American dollar. Reports surfaced in 2003 that stated Iraq made a killing doing so. Well, that was until the United States invaded Iraq on the false pretense of weapons of mass destruction. And consequently, Iraq doesn't sell oil in euros anymore. No, back to...
これ説明してるの今、サダム・フセインがなぜ殺されたかって、ドルをユーロでやろうとしたんだよね。ドル決済じゃなくて。カダフィもそうだよね。アメリカの新種、逆ら。
Petrodollar. Recently, the United States has been pushing for regime change in Iran, with both Hillary Clinton and President Trump relaying that Iran is the top sponsor of terrorism, echoing the sentiments of Ted Cruz, Mike Huckabee, and even Israel's Benjamin Netanyahu, who claim that Iran is getting ready to fire up that nuclear bomb we keep hearing about. I'm sure y'all are familiar, but could one of the contributing factors be tied to the fact that Iran deals in other currency besides the petrodollar? Fast forward to June 9th, 2017, when Saudi Arabia alleged that Qatar was sponsoring terrorism, implicating prominent Qatari businessmen.
これだからさっき言ったようにね、カタールはテロ、ハマスはテロって言うテロだけど。
Royalty and politicians as backers. This claim arrived several weeks after Trump's illuminating visit to Saudi Arabia, and the same day that the United States issued conflicting statements about Qatar, with Secretary of State Rex Tillerson, a former chief executive of ExxonMobil, calling for a calm and thoughtful dialogue to ease the tensions amongst the Sunni Muslim states in the Persian Gulf. Not even an hour later, President Trump commented that Qatar funded terrorism at a very
これ、カタールファンでテロで言っちゃったんだけど、でも本当は言えないんだよね。騎士があるから。こんにちは。騎士がある。
level, demanding that they needed to quit it and join the rest of the non-terrorist funding nations, like Saudi Arabia, who, as it was revealed in Hillary Clinton's leaked emails, funded terrorism alongside Qatar. So why is Saudi Arabia all of a sudden virtue signaling the entire world? Starting a bloodless declaration of war against Qatar with a Saudi-led blockade and a list of demands on Qatar. Saudis want Qatar to shut down Al Jazeera, the state-funded broadcaster. They want Qatar to close a Turkish army base. They also want Qatar to distance themselves from Iran. So far, Qatar has rejected these demands, saying the world is not governed by ultimatums. The deadline for this ultimatum ends tomorrow, but let's go big picture.
オルティメイタムって最後通帳ね。
Here. It's bigger than Qatar-Saudi relations. Let's zoom out until we see the full chessboard and ask ourselves who benefits from war with Qatar. Or perhaps the most revealing question here is who has the most to lose if Qatar aligns itself with the opposing side? While the tensions between these Middle Eastern countries have been long-standing, Qatar shattered any hopes of an Arab NATO by refusing to distance itself with Iran, which ultimately led to a diplomatic crisis between Qatar and Saudi Arabia. Back to the chessboard. What if we identify Saudi Arabia as the pawn of the United States of Israel? Then the question becomes, who's the opposing player in this chess game? After the blockade, Turkey sent troops and supplied food to Qatar, which was a big move on Turkey's behalf, ultimately aligning themselves with Iran, not NATO. And who is an ally to Iran? We've got Iraq, Lebanon, Syria, Venezuela, and you guessed it, Russia. And who's a big ally to Russia? China. Here we have a team not reliant on the petrodollar. And if Russia gets the pipeline, that means the petrodollar loses. Now, do you see what this is really about? It's not about who funds terrorism, that's for sure. If it were about that, there would be more coverage of Senator Rand Paul's Stop Arming Terrorists Act, introduced earlier this year as a bill that prohibits the use of federal agency funds to provide covered assistance to terrorist organizations like Al-Qaeda and ISIS or any other associated groups. There are currently 0 co-sponsors on that bill, which should tell you everything you need to know. We've got a bill that states in the title that the United States arms terrorists, and literally no one cares. The military contractors, politicians, and lobbyists all profit from war. Peace will never shatter nations, which leaves no opportunity to profit from the spoils of war. Do you think that if the media broadcast these events as being about oil and profit, or even alluded to the possibility of such motivation, do you think people would still sign up to die in their wars? If there was no element of fear, no boogeyman in play, how would you ever rally the masses behind a war? Terrorist attacks could be a really effective way to scare people, right? Historically, the Saudis have played a key role in getting the United States into war in the Middle East. It's provable. It seems very clear to me that the situation with Qatar is just another case of the Saudis doing their master's bidding. What do you think will happen tomorrow when the Saudi deadline is up? I always look forward to your comments. Thank you so much for subscribing and watching and supporting my channel on Patreon. And I hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye!
ということです。カタールは結局だからイランについて、中国について、ロシアと取引をしてっていう。で、今のままだったら上海協力機構とかいうところに入って、東側についちゃうって、そういうことになるんですね。それはだからサウジにとっては何のいいこともない。ただサウジは自分がそのカタールと付き合うのよ、カタールにね、圧力かけてサウジと付き合ってる国にね、カタールと付き合うなって言えばやっぱりインドネシアとかフィリピンとかやっぱり取引してるから、それなりに対応するわけですよ。だけど、彼らにしてみればそんなことでやっぱり今までのね、人派遣してたり、取引してたりしたのをね、カタールと断交するなんて気持ちはないわけですよね。だから表面的にはそうするけど、実際には、前の関係。だから本当に関係切っちゃうの。エジプトとか、UAE とか、ああいうふうな、周りのアラブ諸国のサウジに近いとこね。それはそうだけど、そうじゃないとこは、もうサウジそんな今もう力持ってないから、本当に近隣諸国だけが、まあ付き合うみたいな。そんな感じです、ね。
イランですね。
イラン、そういう感じですね。
トルコが、なんかイランと仲良くする部分があったりとか。
どこ？
トルコ。
トルコはね、
動画で、最近の
トルコはサウジとトルコはね、トルコもね、微妙なんですよね。
僕が送った、
トルコとサウジってどうだっけ？
トルコとサウジはあんまし聞いてないですね。
トルコとサウジどうだったか
な。でも、僕が今日ユヌさんに送ったのは、アンカラカナルです。アンカラ？イスタンブールカナル？アンカラカナル？ボスポラス海峡って、あるでしょ？唯一国会に入れる。地中海が国会に入れるね。今、エルドアンの計画で、2023年に、似たような、ものを、もうちょい、西側に、作ろうという話がある。で、それで、今、イスタンブールは、実は、今までは、モールアメリカが世界一大きな空港でしたっけ？モールアメリカ、あれはアメリカ一なのか、世界一大きい空港でどこでしたっけ？
世界一一番でかい飛行場？
はい。
どこだろう？